Berlin Library Trustee meetings called to order at 6:02. And everybody got last month's minutes?
Yes.
That was 5/12, was it?
Yeah, I just sent them out last week.
Yeah.
I had realized, I'm like, oh my God, I never did the minutes. I think, unless I did them twice. It's just been a crazy month. I'm sorry, my dogs are barking.
Any questions, comments on last month's minutes? Oh. No?
No, I wasn't there, so.
Matt York's name is spelled wrong, but
Oh, it is, sorry.
that's the only thing.
Whose name?
Matt York, we're doing a program on Sunday.
How do you spell it?
Yeah, there's no U in there.
Can you
It's
spell
just
it for me?
Y-O-R-K.
Y-O-R-K.
Yeah.
Okay, I will,
Are you able to fix it, Linda?
yeah, I'll fix it, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right. I will move to accept the minutes as amended.
I second. Can I do that?
yep,
Okay.
A roll call vote to accept the minutes as amended. Lynette Wheeler, I approve. Linda Yates,
I approve.
Beth Christensen.
I approve.
All right. Unanimously accepted as submitted. And we move on to Bob's director.
Spelling correction.
With the, yeah, as amended, sorry.
Yeah.
As amended. I wrote that down, but I said submitted.
Yeah.
Force a habit.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay, so we're moving along on our search for a library assistant. We had, actually, we had one more since I sent the report out. So we have 13 and some with, pretty good experience, direct experience with our, network systems. So we interviewed, the first interview was last week. Well, we closed the applications on June 15th. And then we did our first interview last Thursday. And the person was very good. I usually have the other staff who are here also meet the person and give them a tour of the library, talk a little bit about, what everybody's role is here. So the person seemed very good. They're from the local area, which is good. So they wouldn't, have to travel too far.
Mm.
And we have another interview scheduled for this Thursday. So we're moving along.
Very good.
There's a process to get there.
Yeah.
Let's see. We did have another visit from BMS classes that went really well again. We were blessed with another perfect weather day.
Yeah.
Actually, just like today. And I didn't get out today. It was too bad. But anyway, so that worked out really well. And the Friends of the Library book sale was also another perfect weather day.
Yes.
And it was a good thing because we did a lot of the sale outside. So it's kind of labor intensive, but we had some nice signage that the Friends made to put outside, and we had it on the sign in town, the flashing sign on Pleasant Street.
Yep.
So I think we got the word out pretty well. The Friends hadn't done a sale for a couple of years. So we got a ton of donations, some that were just dumped in a book drop, which was not nice. We asked people not to do that. We got a ton of art books. Anyway, the Friends made $575.
Wow.
And that's the best that they've done in even the previous book sales that we did have done. Yeah, they usually do a bake sale in combination with it. And, but they're shying away from doing that until we're, free and clear of this COVID thing. So they decided not to do it this year. They had the plant sale the same day. And I think we got some people just because they were in the area and maybe saw the signage. So all in all, it was a very good day. Had a user council meeting this morning. These are every couple of months. Our next meeting won't be until September. All the networks have a representative, usually the director, and they vote on policies. There's always changes to policies, and usually a representative from the MBLC and the MLS, the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, and the Mass Library System will give a report as well. So this morning's was tough, scheduled for 10 o'clock, and there was something going on with Zoom, so I was hoping we wouldn't have a problem tonight. But anyway, we got it done. It didn't started late, and they have to have 50 members to have a quorum. So they finally got going. Let's see here. I have another Zoom call tomorrow for our state aid report, the ARIS report, which is the first half of it that deals with library statistics, total circulation and all kinds of little, they like to gather all this info, and then they produce reports that show the trends happening in public libraries. So we try to do them as accurately as we can. And it's part of our certification as a public library in Massachusetts responsibility to do that. So I always go to the workshop, even though I've done it 9 times before at this point, but they do make changes. And it's just good to get yourself in the mode to start working on it and get it done. We did get the new air conditioner in. It hasn't been installed yet, but fortunately, the weather's been cooperating, so we haven't really needed it. And but the highway department, Highway Fred, will his crew will be installing it as soon as they can. And the library friends are holding another garden tour this summer. They collaborate with 19 Carter on this program. But this has been a really successful one and a good fundraiser. So the information about it should be coming out soon. You all know how garden tours work, right? I never knew until the friends started doing them. But anyway, so we're looking forward to that. And then we have a first adult program that we've had in a couple of years. We've had some programming that was family oriented, so obviously there were adults there. And we did have an adult program earlier this year. We had it outside. We had a local poet came and spoke. The performer this week will be Matt York. He got a Berlin Cultural Council grant, and he'll be at the 1870 on Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the friends have been helping to spread the word about the concert. So I hope that we will have a good crowd. He's doing the songs of the Highwaymen. Did I mention that? Okay. Anyway, he performed in Boylston 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, and I think that's about it. Unless you have any questions for me.
Nope.
No questions. Sounds like we got a lot going on this year.
Yeah. Are we doing anything
Yeah.
for summer reading with the school?
Yeah. I haven't spoke with Sarah too much about summer reading. She was on vacation last week. So when she gets back, we can talk about it. But I know she's been coordinating with BMS and with other, other schools as well. Neshoba just hired a new library director or library head and they had like an open house there recently that Sarah went to.
Oh,
So
nice.
there is a group that she is part of with local youth services librarians, and they collaborate on a lot of different things. Give each other ideas. They just get together and meet and talk about programming and things. So
That's really good.
yeah, and so in terms of summer reading, Lynette, I don't have really any specifics, but there actually is a program next Monday. Elijah Grasshopper will be here.
Oh yeah, I saw
So,
that.
yeah. In the last few years, there's been a lot of Zoom. Everything's been by Zoom. So
Mhm.
now we're doing more of a combination of Zoom and outside and, whatever is needed suits the needs. So
So Elijah Grasshopper is what? A children's reading
yes, yeah, storyteller.
storyteller.
Yeah.
How do you spell Elijah?
Elijah.
E-L-I-J
Elijah. Yeah.
Grasshopper. Okay,
Let me look to be sure.
that'd be good.
I'm
Thanks.
like, I have no idea. I know,
That's
I would know it if I saw it, but
We could just call him Mr. Grasshopper. But it's Elijah T. Grasshopper, to be specific.
All right. Good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Questions on the director's report? No? I will move to accept it as submitted.
I will second.
A roll call vote to accept as submitted. Lynette Wheeler, I approve. Beth Christensen,
I approve.
Mindy Yates.
I approve.
All right, unanimously accepted as submitted.
Okay.
All right, on the financial report.
Okay. So the documents that I sent you today are ledgers.
Okay.
That's June, the town accountant will periodically send out. And we have to sign off on some of these. Basically, what we're saying when we sign off is that, our records match and that we still have money, that we're not spending money that we don't have is essentially what you're signing to. So when we do the, mainly what they're concerned with is just your library wages and your library expenses. So one of the sheets I sent you was the ledger history, the expenditure ledger. And this is taking us from the beginning of the fiscal year to the beginning of May. So we still had 2 months to go. And then it shows you the balances. And then you check your own tracking to make sure you're close to that. And if there's not if you're not, then you have to figure out a reason why. So, so that's that. We also have a ledger for additional income. So this is monies that we get to carry over each year. So we have, the state aid fund, that's something called LIG-MEG on the sheet. Library video revolving is the fines we collect for lost books and so forth. We have a line for donations. We occasionally get those. We got a couple this year. And so we can, if we overspend in our expenses, which I have done, I didn't necessarily overspend, but June would say, or I would notice that I was getting very close to our allotted expenses. And so if we needed to do more spending, we would do it with this additional funds. And then the other component is the articles for capital items, such as the general repairs, We have one for design and engineering study of new library. That's the architects that we've worked with to come up with our plan
Mhm.
for hopefully doing some renovations on the building. So.
So is there money set aside still for an architect?
There is. It's from 2006, and they've allowed us to keep this money. It's down to 14,000. We haven't been able to move the process forward. The last, we got the septic done,
Right.
and we were trying to prepare to apply for a construction grant with the state and see if they would support, first thing before we went to the town to ask for any money. So the MBLC, the user council meeting we had this morning, the MBLC person, chairman, did talk about the construction grant program. And it's going to be a few years before they're funding it fully again. They did increase the amount. There was a cap on the total amount that they could do each year, which was $20 million, which doesn't go too far when you have about 25 libraries that are hoping to be part of the program. So I don't see a lot of headway. They did come up with something special for small libraries. And I have to look into that more because I wasn't really aware of it, and see if that would be something we could take advantage of.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep looking over here because I'm still on duty. I'm the only one here today. Karen had to go visit her daughter who has injury, but anyway, I may have to go get up and help the patron. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Okay. So in terms of this spreadsheet, it's through the end of May, the one that I sent you, my normal spreadsheet. And we did have market rate adjustments this year again to the wages, but we do have monies to cover those. So June just asked me about that the other day. And we're pretty close to totally spending our expense money. We're very close to having the proper amount that we need to spend on materials. And on some of the categories, you can notice that we're overspent by quite a bit. And I kind of lumped the ebook when I purchase ebooks. There's both audio and print. But anyway, I've talked about this for a while, how we need to, I need to kind of revamp these categories. Say in some areas, we really didn't spend anything, say on children's DVDs, and on adult DVDs also as well. So we spent only 734 of the 2,000 we allotted. So some of these categories are changing, and so that's something that I need to consider. I'll be creating a new spreadsheet for the next fiscal year next month. So, by the time we meet in the fall, we'll be working with FY23.
That's a good time to change the categories too.
Yeah, I've only hesitated because I don't know what to change them to, because it's just, I could make the categories broader, but it's good to, when we send when I request the monies for the budget, we want to be able to justify why we're asking for the money.
Right.
It's, part of the spreadsheet. So anyway, it does need some work. I will say that. Maybe I'll talk with some other directors.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe there's someone you can talk to help you make those decisions.
There is.
What would be best? Yeah.
I mean, one of the trustees, when I first started, helped me quite a bit with this spreadsheet. And so, it works to the extent that it works. It's always kind of a work in progress. I'd say since I started, we've already made a lot of changes to it, and it'll probably continue to be that way. So,
Ever changing. That's what we have too at my work, is we have stuff that we work with, and we have categories, and we're constantly changing the categories because you
Yeah.
have to fit the needs. So, you know,
Yeah.
things change.
Sorry. Yeah, it's, DVDs, they're still circulating at a pretty high rate, but they're hard to buy now, I don't have a really good supplier. Just go to Best Buy and, whatever new ones they have, but even the movie making industry kind of went down for a while during COVID. No one was going to the movie, so, and then there's just so many other options. Audiobooks, I mean, the best option is to get it online and just, it's an MP3 file. And if you're going on a car trip or whatever, most people do listen in the car. I just say that from my informal poll when I ask people who borrow audios. I like to
Yep.
know how they're doing it. So our circulation of audiobooks and the actual like CDs is dropping. So I've been purchasing just MP3 audios. So they're cheaper and they take up less shelf space. And so that's one change. So
Nice.
can you excuse me for a minute? Because I just got to
Sure.
check somebody out here. Okay. Should go lock the door.
No,
We're open for 3 more minutes.
it's okay.
It's all right.
All right. So any more questions on the financial report from anyone?
I don't have any.
Well, hold on. I'm going to pause this again. All right. So any questions on the financial report?
No,
Have any.
I will move to accept it as submitted.
I will second.
Okay.
You were writing, so I didn't want to.
A roll call vote to accept the financial report as submitted. Lynette Wheeler, I approve. Beth Christensen,
I approve.
Wendy Yates.
I approve.
All right, approved unanimously to accept as submitted.
Okay.
So I don't really have old business. I mean, obviously our old business now is going to be figuring out renovations for the
Yeah.
library. We kind of touched on that a little bit. Like it's going to be a while before there's construction grant money, but it's good to know that there's still monies left for an architect. Is that something we can just do, Bob? Like I have people
Yes.
that I know that are architects.
If we felt that we needed to meet with them for any reason, we could do that. Usually we'll tell them what we would like to talk about. They'll create some kind of agenda and get a rough estimate how long, how much time.
Like if I was in contact,
Normally we'd only get together with them if we're asking them to or for input into some kind of design work or
right. I'm just thinking like if I was in contact with an architect and showed them the plan that we had done up before with
right,
that little extension off the back,
right.
to see, and they can just maybe if they have to update it, if anything's changed.
Exactly, yeah, because
And is
yeah,
that something we have to
it's
ask?
been a while, so right,
We have to ask the town
things
before
change.
something like that.
Sorry?
We have to ask the town before we do something like that. Can I?
No, we just have to make sure we have the money to pay for it.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
have this capital item, that's what it's designed, that's what it's specifically for. So as long as the work that they do, the only reason I would go and ask the town would be if it were something that might fall outside of design and engineering, a new study.
To have an architect look at the plans and potentially update them.
Yeah, this is pretty broad. So, but this is pretty broad capital item. They try to make them specific so you can't just use the money for
Right.
something it wasn't intended for.
Okay.
That people vote on something, then they want to know, that that's what the money's spent for, so.
Okay.
Is there any reason to wait until we know that there's a possibility of money coming soon? I mean, is there any,
Well,
I'm just wondering,
Yeah,
if that's an advantage to wait, or if it's,
well,
or it doesn't matter. I don't know.
you know, I mean, we would have to make a decision. Do we want to wait for the state's money? I'm going to investigate this small libraries grant. That was the first thing I heard of it, or heard about it was today.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
sounds good.
because that might, I mean, that might be better for us because,
Mhm.
as I mentioned before, the state construction grant, they really favor larger projects.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
really, we
and
just
that's gonna
want
be
to
a
do,
couple years anyways, right?
Well, yeah.
it's
I
gonna
think
be
that
years, yeah.
if we can get someone to at least look at the plan that we have in place
Mhm.
Right.
and give us a better
Yeah.
idea, then at least if we have a starting off point, like if they tell us, like I feel like we need to be prepared and know what
Right.
it will potentially cost.
And the other thing, and if you look at the capital items on the ledger, we have $50,000. Um, it's Article 30. Okay, so the town has already pledged $50,000, and we would get to whatever we get from the state. So at the time when we asked for this money, we had the architects do an estimate of what it would cost to do a full construction plan. So to take those design plans that we have,
Mhm.
conceptual plans, and make that a construction plan. Because that's the first part of the grant process. You do that, and then you go out and you hire the contractors and all that kind of thing. It's kind of a long, drawn out process, but it's a step-by-step thing to make sure you cover all the bases.
Mhm.
So we have 50,000 in that. So the town would support this if we get the grant. But
Okay.
unfortunately, we can't get the grant. So that was our strategy a few years ago, and we were, hoping to move forward with that. But
So,
and the MBLC grant people, they are aware that Berlin is a town that is interested in applying for a grant. We're on a kind of a wait list.
mhm.
So would it make sense to allow you some time, Bob, to investigate that small library
Yes,
that you,
I would have done it today, but I just got kind of bogged down. I
yes,
wasn't super busy, but when you're on your own, you always feel super busy.
yeah. So maybe the next meeting, you might be able to have something to report,
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
help us.
There may not be a lot to it. I'm hearing that only 2 libraries applied for it.
Mm.
So I don't know, maybe when they say small, I don't know. Normally small is a town under 10,000,
Right,
which makes us kind of super small.
yeah.
But then you've got a town like Shutesbury or something, which is one of the towns that got the grant. And
Mhm.
I don't know what their population is, but it's probably less than us. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the first step. is to
right.
figure out if That's even,
And maybe they're not. Maybe their design project was their construction project was just a very small, project. So
Mhm.
I mean, ours was priced out at $1.5 million. And that was a few years ago. So say
Mhm.
it's 2 million.
Yeah.
That's a
Or
lot
more.
for a renovation,
Mhm.
but the MBLC person seems to think that what we're trying to do, is not really a renovation at all. In fact, the DEP, which allowed us to do this, go outside of the footprint of the building to renovate, said that they don't consider it an addition to the building, even though it is technically. Because if we didn't move the building out, there's really nothing we can do to make this building fully accessible, and a really modern kind of building. I don't know if we'll ever be able to do that, but so with there's just a lot to consider. I'm just trying to bring up the points that we keep going back and forth on,
Mhm.
Mhm.
because
Okay.
we're kind of,
Couple
we're in that conundrum right now.
I just have a couple questions, and maybe we've gone over them. We've talked about a lot of stuff, so sometimes I forget.
Oh, yeah.
So is there, I know you said that we did the septic. Is there anything else that we need to do as far as we know, to prepare to, do this project?
I don't think so. I think we, and it took a long time to
Mhm.
work with the DEP and figure out how to satisfy them now. They're not even really involved in septic, but they're
Mhm.
they're involved in water. And
Right.
we weren't sure about the well. The town
Mhm.
was not even having the well tested on a regular basis. So
Oh.
they just wanted us to get back on with the program. And because we're all well water, then we're
Right.
we're grandfathered as a public library building, but if we make these changes, then we have to make sure that the whole thing is numbers for the DEP. So
Right.
so certain types of businesses, if people just go in and out and they really don't stay, they're not likely to use any water, then they kind of make an exception for them
Okay.
in terms of their needs. So when the numbers reach a certain amount, like that's why they wouldn't allow like a big expansion, because we don't have that water
Mhm.
supply, a public
Right.
water supply. So, I mean, Boylston and Bolton, a lot of these towns have public water supply. Some of them have it just for the center district of the town,
Mhm.
just for these reasons. But anyway, I don't know that there's too much other than to, keep the ball rolling by, I'll try to meet, if there is a small library thing that we can talk about, I'll try to meet with there's a new construction person anyway. So
Mhm.
it would be good for me to meet with her or him or her
Mhm.
and just go over our situation again and see what hope we have
Okay.
of getting a grant.
And I know, Lynette brought up already, taking the drawing, if you will, that we have to, an architect just to check it. So
Yes.
that's kind of another question I had was, is
Mhm.
that like a final drawing? But you said it's pretty broad, right? It's not
It's just a
really.
concept plan because the DEP said, okay, we may allow you to go out of the footprint of the building, but show us your plan. We didn't
Okay.
have a plan because I didn't know. I thought the first time we met with them, they were just going to say, no, you can't go out of the, you can't do it. Because I did have some correspondence from before my time that indicated that. But anyway, we work with, it's a central, the Worcester office of the DEP. We
Mhm.
met with them at least 5 times.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
the septic was a part of that. And
But now that's done.
I mean, Lynette was involved in a lot of those meetings
Yep. Yeah.
to get that done. So,
Yeah.
I feel like, I've been here 9 years now, over 9 years, and I feel like we kept it rolling, but at a glacial pace. So,
All right. Well,
unfortunately, that's the way
yeah.
it is.
And I guess the only other question I have is, and I don't know, maybe I didn't understand this right. You
Mhm.
said that the town is, I may not word this right, is going to give us 50,000 for the,
Right. So we have this
expansion.
capital item, so it's money that's set aside.
Okay.
And every year, in fact, I'm going to have to sign off on
Mhm.
each one of these capital items to say why we want to keep it.
Okay.
And not, because they like you to use them in that fiscal year when you ask
Right.
for the money. But it's not
Right.
always something you can do. They've allowed us to keep this architect one since 2006, so they
Mhm.
know
So
that
that's good.
that's a dire need for us to have
Mhm.
that input, and so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So am I understanding it right that they are not going to give us that money if we don't get a grant?
Yes,
Okay.
you're understanding that right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I
That
did
was
understand
contingent
right.
on the state giving us a grant. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So would this small library, I know you still have to look into it,
Yeah.
but for right now, you're understanding this small library, is that also a grant, the thing that you're going to look into?
I'm going to look into it, but yes.
Okay.
But it's kind of a separate thing from the regular construction grant program.
Okay.
So I wasn't even aware of it, I'm sorry to say.
It's okay.
Um,
Why are you not all knowing, Bob?
Why, I just, usually I am, I just slipped up.
It's all right. You can have one
Well,
day.
normally, they do send information, I mean, especially since we are on a list.
Hmm.
So normally I would get something, and maybe I did, I searched for it and I didn't see any information.
Hmm.
But they do send out these broader letters, and I may not always read all of it because that would be kind of a big thing. You would think they would contact all the small libraries or
Right, right.
libraries that they thought would qualify for it.
Maybe they're kind of trying to tuck it away so you don't see it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there may not be a lot to it. That may be
Yeah.
why only 2 libraries applied, just
Mhm.
because they're very narrow
Yeah.
qualifications. So
Well, we'll see, right?
We'll
Hopefully
see.
you'll have time to look into that, and
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to get some information. That'd be really,
It's just a matter of going to the MDLC website, and then if I have questions, I can call them.
and then hopefully we'll find out if that would still qualify as a grant, because that would be nice if we could,
Yeah,
work
I
it out.
know. Yeah, I think it should, but
Mhm.
can't say for sure until I know more about it.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. I think that's all I had for questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yes, and I'm sure we've gone over some of this, but so much going on. I
Well,
don't know.
I mean, yeah, we've been talking about this, and that's where we're at, so
Yep.
we have to try to keep things going. We had a couple of years, without COVID, maybe we'd be a little further along. Hard to say for
Yeah.
sure, but
Well, not too bad. We got the septic done during COVID,
right.
so that's something.
We've had a lot of building repairs done. I mean,
Yeah.
right when I started this, the roof was leaking in here. We got
Oh.
we got a new roof, new fire alarm system, windows.
That's not bad.
But the infrastructure part of the library, the electrical, the
Mhm.
boiler, the plumbing, like all that stuff, that needs to be upgraded at some point, because that's original stuff.
Wow.
And the plumber was afraid to even go in there and do some of work behind the sink. I said, why don't we get a new sink in here? Oh, no. We do get a few complaints about the bathroom,
Yep.
but when you gotta go, I mean, I
It's
don't
good
know
enough,
why.
right?
It's good enough. I got new toilet seats. That was about the best I could do. Yeah, we're making some progress. And I have worked with a lot of trustees since I started, so,
I know.
yeah. But all of you guys bring something to the table, so we've had a good mix of people, and everyone's contributed, so that's how it's supposed to work,
Mhm.
I think. I guess I should know by now.
It works well.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll move on for new business. I don't really have much new business, but maybe just noting that at the July meeting, you can give us an update on what the summer reading.
Some reading, yes, we'll do.
Does anybody have any concerns, other concerns?
I do not.
No. Lynette, are you gonna be able to do that, do you think, with an architect, or is that something Bob needs to arrange, or bringing that conceptual?
Yeah, we should probably talk about it. I mean, I can tell you about the architect that we've used.
Yeah.
He does know, it's somewhat important to have someone who has worked on other public library projects,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because there's a lot of things specific to that that are helpful knowledge that they know. So they wouldn't have to spend any time really, breaking new ground or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have worked with, I can't even remember their names at the moment.
That's okay. We can talk.
But they were the people who designed the new library building way back when, 2003. And so they were the first people that I called, because they were familiar with the town. They were familiar with this building. They were familiar with the plan for a new building. So it just seemed like he's saving a lot of time to work with them. And they had all of that info in their files.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but if you wanted to explore using other architects, there are some that work specifically with libraries, public libraries.
Okay. We can chat about that. All right, so our next,
So just to make sure I understand for the minute, so are we going to talk to the architect or what's
I
the,
think Bob and I should talk first and see.
okay.
Yeah, make sure that we got the right kind of architect, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fact that they work with, have, worked on other public library buildings. I think it's important, but it's not, that's not a deal breaker or anything. Get somebody else.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, so you'll have some discussion and we'll talk about it at the next meeting then.
Yeah.
Okay,
could do that.
And our next meeting is July 12th at
Hmm.
6.
At 6.
Oh, that's coming
Will
up
that be
fast.
I know. It's like
Yeah.
right around the corner.
Well, because we skipped a week, we went a week late.
Right.
Yeah,
Still via Zoom is good for everyone.
Sure.
Okay. And then there'll be no meeting in August. We don't
Oh,
typically
perfect.
meet in August,
okay.
just as a reminder.
okay.
Okay.
That means we have the July meeting and then it would be September 13th. Would be the one after that.
September 13th, okay.
Yeah.
And do we want to determine right now, is that going to be Zoom or is that going to be, do we not know yet?
We can figure that out at the next meeting.
Okay.
As long as they're still doing the Zoom channel, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of
works for me.
meetings are reverting back to in-person.
Yep.
So as long as the town's still providing Zoom.
Sure.
we'll-
Yeah,
we'll-
I have no problem with it because it actually makes it easier because by the time I finish work, sometimes it's like 5:30.
I don't mind it either. And in September, I might still be in Maine, so
Okay.
Mhm.
I could attend if it was on Zoom, so.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
you can just plan for it to be via Zoom unless something happens.
Okay,
Maybe someday we'll actually sit around a table together.
we've done it once.
Did? That's right. I
Yep.
forgot about that.
Recently, we did it once, but that was it, which wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
I have mixed feelings about Zoom, but I think it saves a little time.
It does. Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, there's a user council meeting we had this morning. I might have been out in Holyoke or somewhere. And I wouldn't have been able to go because Karen was called away and Sarah's on vacation. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
anyway,
All right. Is everybody all set?
I
I'm
am.
all set.
Then
Yeah.
I will move to adjourn the meeting.
I will second.
A roll call vote to adjourn. Lynette Wheeler, adjourn. Beth Christensen,
Adjourn.
Cindy Yates.
Adjourn.
All right, meeting adjourned at 6:49 p.m.